You talk to a company and you try to say, hey, I want you to bring, your widget factory or manufacturing out here to this place, and they're like, well, where is it? You say, well, it's east of Mesa, north of Florence, Johnson Ranch, Queen Creek, but not. It wasn't working. So now, under a common name, we have the power of 80,000 citizens, and 80,000 citizens in Pinal County wield a mighty stick. They're larger than the city of Flagstaff. So the political power that goes with that, with a body that's come together, is one thing, but the economic power. Now when I say, hey, I need you to bring your Outback, restaurant, when I tell them, now I can, when I tell them, oh, they got a community out here, now I tell them, I've got 80,000 people that are hungry for your business. Now we start talking. So there was a lot of consternation based on the process of the naming. It came down fast and furious because of some zip code changes, and we wanted to coincide with the zip code change. We'll argue that one probably forever. Honestly, I imagine people will tell their grandkids about how the naming process wasn't perfect, but the result was what we wanted. We had the citizens, a number of citizens got to say, yeah, Santan Valley is what we want. We had a number of citizens who didn't get to say, which is unfortunate. But the name, to me, wasn't the most important part, what it was. It was the fact that there is something that they can call themselves. And they're embracing it. In fact, if you go on to Google Maps, you'll see Santan Valley,
exactly.
Which is cool. Coming in 2010, Resolution Copper up in Superior, off-the-chart potential. Billions of dollars of copper under the ground there. And we're working through the federal wickets to make that happen, so I'm a big supporter of that. Our water study for our comp plan, we're going to continue that. We will have a solution for that, not this year, but by next May 2011, and that'll go on we'll fix our comp plan there, so that's a good thing. Planning and zoning ordinances changed this year.
Yeah.
We thought the comp plan was ugly. So very much like making sausage. Our planning and zoning, we'll go through that. Our budget this year, no telling what the state's going to do. No telling. Counties generally are low-hanging fruit where they'll go try to get some money. Our benefit is that we're relatively small compared to Maricopa and Pima. So last year, Maricopa was asked to give about $19 million, Pima about $3 million, and everybody else was kind of off the hook. I don't think we're going to get that lucky this year, but I don't think it's going to be monumental. A few million dollars. Yeah, a few million dollars. Unfortunately, that may represent jobs, and that's what we don't want. But we'll work through that, knowing that our focus is taking care of the needs of our citizens. Our number one focus is taking care of the needs of our citizens, and then we take care of our employees, because we exist to serve citizens. Citizens don't exist to employ us, so that's important to remember. And then we'll work through our revenue sources as we figure out, okay, where can we make money? How can we capitalize on available funding out there, some grants, some economic development? It all comes back to jobs, economic development. And then finally, we're just about to finish up our impact fees. As we work through that impact fee, I think we're making some great progress. I'm hoping we get a vote here coming up in a couple weeks on making our impact fees commensurate with other municipalities and counties, so any industry is not precluded from coming into Pinal County and providing those head of household income jobs that we desperately need. And that's all I've got on Pinal County.
Wow.
What are your questions?
I mean, that was... let's talk a little bit about Byran Martyn as a supervisor this one year. I mean, have you made the adjustment? I mean, you sit there, you talked about being a rookie, but I imagine you're fully immersed in the position. Your family is fully immersed in the position. How has the transition been from the military to the elected role? I mean, I'm sure there's some similarities. There are some differences, but how do you feel your transition has been?
It's a good question, Joe. It's been good. It's a learning process. We talk about committee, working as a committee, 3 members. I've never had a command where I had 3 commanders, and And in this case, the county moves forward with the efforts of 3 decision makers and a host of staff, of experts who provide knowledge and resources that I could never possess. There's just so many things that are going on. I'm not an expert in everything. So it's been good. I think some people would argue, but I think a little bit of that common sense that comes with a lot of the military time, kind of, all right, let's just see what happens here and move forward. I think that's been helpful with few predetermined outcomes, kind of looking at this. There's a few things were predetermined. Our growth, we're going to stay open for business. We're going to move forward. We're going to bring jobs in here, but it's not going to be unabated. That whole outlook, I think, is shared. I believe it's shared with my fellow supervisors. So that's kind of made it easier as we work through our comp plan. But the transition from the military to the civilian side, it's my work schedule hasn't changed one bit. It seems like I joke. People ask me, hey, they say, is it a full-time job? I said, no, it's only about 70 hours a week. And I said, yeah, it's a half-day schedule, right? If you work 12 hours a day, that's only a half-day schedule. It's always something. If you're doing your job well, if you're doing your job right, and all 3 of our supervisors have got just swamped with getting out there and talking and learning and not just in their district, throughout the county and through our neighboring counties. Getting out there and solidifying our place as where growth will happen. I happen to spend a lot of time in Phoenix talking about issues on state trust land, and I know Supervisor Rios, Pete, he's down in Tucson sometimes as they look at their growth pattern as they're moving up here, and of course David spends so much time a lot with our Indian communities because his district has so many Indian communities, working all the issues, establishing those relationships as we move forward, and those take time. And then of course my day doesn't end at 5 o'clock. It starts at about 7, and then after in the evenings, that's when our citizens get home. Right. And that's when the HOA meetings are, the business association meetings, and then now we've got the radio show.
I was going to lead into that.
We got the radio show. What a fantastic opportunity I've been given. This radio show is internet-based. You're not going to find it on the radio, but it's internet-based. You can go on the internet, and it's kqcklive.com, right. And I'm sure you can put that.
We'll throw that right down there on the screen.
Yeah, but I've been given the opportunity to have a chance to go on there. Right now, it's going to be every Thursday night. Every Thursday night.
Every Thursday. It used to be once every